sneaks up behind him, as quiet as a cat would in a mouse. And then he grabs him around the neck and he says, I have you now, bring me to your fairy gold. And I said if the leprechaun could distract you for 1 millisecond, make you look away. God, he's puff of smoke. So of course the leprechaun's going, look over there. He goes, no, I'm not doing that. My eyes on you. Bring me to your fairy gold. And the leprechaun brings him over every rough ditch, no bit of bog, hoping you look down. He keeps his eyes on him. They suddenly come to a forest, and they come to a tree in the middle of the forest, and the leprechaun says, that's where the gold is buried. The man takes out a red ribbon, ties it around the tree to mark it, and he says to the leprechaun, and you swear in your life that you will not remove that ribbon. The leprechaun says, I swear. The man goes running back to his house, and he grabs his shovel, and he's running back to the forest, going, I'm going to be rich, I'm going to be rich, I'm going to be rich. And he comes back to the forest, and there's a red ribbon around every single tree in the forest. Leprechauns don't give up their gold that easily. And you know the concept of the crock of gold at the end of the rainbow? You've probably seen those, you know, the ads, right? Where does it come from? It comes from our belief that there's buried treasure here. We have, if you ever, the Celts love to adorn themselves in gold. They're very vain people. If you ever get to the National Museum here in Kildare Street, there's hoards of gold that they've discovered all over the country. An exhibition there in the museum. You know, there are Viking invasions and Norman invasions, and areas of wealth, particularly monasteries, got attacked. And they often buried their wealth, and they often didn't get back to it. When I was in school, there was a boy 2 years below me out with a metal detector with his father, and they discovered a gold and silver chalice from the 8th century. The Derry na Flan chalice, which is now in the National Museum. I paid a lot of money for it. He found his fairy gold. I've got a friend of mine in Clare, he's got a Norman tower house with his lads, and his friends are always at him, and you found your fairy treasure. And he bought a new car last year, they're all at him, oh, you found your fairy treasure. But that's the leprechaun. And then the other one of the solitary fairies is the banshee. You've heard of the banshee?
Yeah.
The harbinger of death. The fairies were called a she. It was the Irish for the mound that they lived under. And the Irish for woman is banshee, the woman in the fairy mound. And she was the harbinger of death. It said if you heard the keening, the wailing lament of the banshee, that somebody close to you was about to die. And the images of her dress made of cobwebs, long hair coming down to the ground, shaking from the cold, and eyes red from centuries of grieving. And she slowly combs her hair as she keens the person about to die. And I have friends my own age who swear they've heard her, and somebody close to them dying. And you talk to the older generation people, a litany of stories of experiencing the banshee. And again, the harbinger of death in folklore all over the world. It's amazing how folklore, thousands of miles apart, there's so many similarities between it in different countries. It's the banshee. And then the final one, just to quickly talk about, is the puka. You've heard of Puck Midsummer's Night's Dream, the half man, half goat. In Ireland, one of his main forms was a black horse with fiery yellow eyes. It was a very dark and mischievous fairy. And one thing he loved to do was run between people's legs coming home at night time, pick them up and bring them on a crazy ride around the country, and then chuck them in the ditch. Now, I don't know where that comes from, but you can imagine maybe people coming out of a party full of whiskey, the whole world screaming around, okay, that's where we are. You know, sure enough, they end up in a ditch as well. And the fairy would used to get out of trouble. You imagine the husband coming home at 6 o'clock in the morning, might go, where the hell are you? Honey, I swear to God, I left the party at 10 as you told me. I was walking straight home down that road towards the house as you told me. And then that puka just coming up behind me, pick me up, and bring me on a crazy 8-hour ride, and I'm only getting home now. Likely story. Fairy would used to get people out of trouble. Teenagers acting the mickey. But that wasn't us, that was the fairies. We've even got those t-shirts. The fairies made me do it. So the fairy would use for all sorts of things. Getting you out of trouble, explain the unexplainable, social control, stopping people doing silly things. And the fairy world used to keep children safe. Very important part of the folklore.